We'll get our one.
I'm posting to the Facebook.
All right. Everyone else ready?
Do it.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello out there, everyone in podcast land, and welcome back to the Front Row Movie Reviews, the podcast for people who actually like movies and television. And holy crap, Game of Thrones is done for season 7, the Wolf and the Dragon. It is done. We have just watched episode 7, and we are here to break it down. I'm Jeremy Geckner, and with me here on this trek through Westeros is Mr. Scott McFarland, host of Flashbacks and Zonasodes. What's up, man?
I have to say, since I wasn't on the show last week, you guys have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on.
That episode was a shit show.
Dude, that was epic walk and talk. Aaron Sorkin would have been proud of that episode.
It was epic, moving at the speed of plot. We can let's run a marathon to the end of the wall in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
1,000 miles in 5 minutes.
They've been doing all year.
5 minutes. No, it's not. No, it is not. Okay, I'm good.
Well, either way, also here the host of Beyond the Mouse, the associate editor-in-chief of the Front Row Movie Reviews, Mr. Craig McFarland. What's up?
Hey! I'm so excited to talk about things tonight. I'm thinking that Paul and Josh are going to work together to get Christmas out, and then once that happens, Kevin's going to win Big Brother.
Yep. There you go.
Every time I see Josh, I just think,
no, but really, I'm probably the worst person to ever have on this recap show.
Yeah.
But my little mouse ears are on the banner of the logo, so I decided I better make an appearance. I do have a question. This might help some of the listeners that aren't as hardcore followers. So this season only had 7 episodes?
Yes.
Why?
Craig just got it.
People are getting famous and they have less time to actually make the episodes, is my guess.
No, this is a cash grab.
It only has one more season, right?
Yeah, no. Jeremy's being nice once again.
True.
This is HBO saying we have 1 season left and we want to make money for 2 more seasons. So we want to make sure people subscribe to HBO in 2018. So let's cut season 7 in half and make it 8 episodes and 7 episodes, which is only 4 episodes longer than what they usually are. And in doing that, you get to subscribe more.
So this is a Mockingjay Part 1, Part 2 situation.
Oh, absolutely. This is the same reason why I have to pay CBS for 4 months of Star Trek, because they don't want me to binge.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if any indication, though, is that the episodes next year are going to be longer and more action-packed, and if this one, the ending of this episode of Season 7 surely promises some more of that. So let's jump right in here. So many things to do here. We really only have 2 locations. We usually location hop on the Row Knows Nothing, but this one, we pretty much stayed in King's Landing except for one. So what do you guys say we head up to Winterfell first and talk about the stuff that happened up there, and then we'll jump into the King's Landing scenes? All right, so let's do that then. Let's go up to Winterfell. Yeah, I guess we agree. The silence is deafening. Anyway, let's go up to Winterfell here. For the last couple of episodes, it's been apparent that Littlefinger, Lord Baelish, has been trying to drive a wedge between the Stark sisters, and we see now just how amazingly failed that plan was. The Stark sisters strike back with a vengeance. Sansa accuses him of treason and murder. All of Baelish's deepest, darkest secrets are spilled, just like the blood from his throat, as Arya takes out Littlefinger in front of all of the Northern Lords. Scott, let's go to you first. What did you think of Baelish finally getting his comeuppance here and losing the game?
Spoilers, by the way?
Well, dude, this is a recap show.
Okay. I have been very much down on the whole Sansa Arya plot for about six years now. So I'm happy it turned around. I don't think they earned the turnaround writing wise.
Really?
Because I mean, I loved what happened, and I was very happy, and I was like going to like hell yeah when I watched Littlefinger finally die, because I didn't expect Littlefinger to die in season 7. I figured he'd be around for a little bit longer. I don't think they earned it in writing wise, because last episode you saw Arya ready to cut off Sansa's face, and if they were trying to play Littlefinger, why are they doing that in a room by themselves?
Yeah.
So now I think what they were trying to tell me was they were actually going to kill each other because they were stupid people at that point, And then after Littlefinger did his little game of plan out the worst thing that could happen, which sadly is how I play in politics a lot, but that's a whole other story. But I figure when they decided that, hey, I should plan out what Littlefinger's doing because I am a slow learner, as she says. So yeah. I wish there would have been a little bit more build up to it so it actually was paid off. But I do appreciate the end, and now Sansa and Arya don't annoy me as much, so that's good.
Yeah, I actually have
Bran did something.
Yeah, Bran did do something. The Bran bot actually spoke in this episode. No, I agree with you. Like, it's been especially frustrating at Winterfell the last couple of weeks because you're right. Like, it seems like the Stark sisters are getting played way too easily, and I was frustrated with the writing. I was like, God, you're taking like the long journey that we started to respect Sansa a little bit from, and you're turning her just completely into that spoiled brat character we all hated in the first season, and I really was glad the turn happened like so quickly, and I liked that, like just how do you respond, Lord Baelish? Like, and Aidan Gillen, he is so great in the scene. Like, the surprise on his face is really awesome, and just how he keeps trying to turn it on himself, keeps trying to find a way out, and he just can't do it. It is a fitting ending for Lord Baelish. I mean, this guy has double-crossed more people in the Game of Thrones than anyone we've seen, and really, really kind of happy to see that it all comes back down on him. Craig, what did you think of the death of Lord Baelish?
Well, I was really happy to see him go because he's one of those characters that's kind of hung on for a really long time, in my opinion, and double-crossing here and there. I also liked that you got to see the Starks come back together a bit. It's interesting when you start to think about, like, this episode for me was super Ned Stark heavy. Yeah. And then also you've got Tywin Lannister on the other side. So you see that, like, the fathers really played an influence in how their families either split apart completely or how they're coming together. And I hope in the end that's how you win the Game of Thrones. I will say that I think that the writer of this series is a maniac, and he probably is looking for the worst case scenario to happen because he loves to kill off heroes. But it is interesting to see them come together while the Lannisters are continuing to fall apart, almost pulling the trigger on killing each other twice.
I agree with you most of the time, Craig, but I think this actually proves you wrong in this case, is because if they were really going for the worst case scenario, Baelish would have stuck around, because his ability to play everyone like a fiddle would have been very huge when everyone starts heading north. And the fact that he has been taken off the board, I think, actually gives the good guys a chance to win.
Yeah,
well, I mean, like in the Jon Snow, like finally us realizing that, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself here.
No, you can do that.
Jon Snow finally realizing that he's the heir to the Iron Throne. I like
he hasn't
all that.
That's gonna cause some issues.
He hasn't though.
Yeah, he doesn't know that yet.
He knows nothing.
No, I know he does. I know he knows. I know he doesn't know that, but his fat friend does. So
his fat friend. Hey,
his fat friend.
Much like Lord of the Rings, Samwise is the only thing that's holding this whole thing together.
Well, and actually, Craig, you hit on a really good point there, that there is the fatherly influence of like the kind of first patriarchs of the show, like Tywin and Ned. You're right. Like their influence is really heavily felt here. I mean, Jon references them when he won't lie and bend the knee to Cersei to make the truce happen. And of course, the sisters, when they're looking out over Winterfell and the Northern Lands, invoke a really, really nice touching moment, I thought, where Arya, even in the midst of her like kind of massive emotional void that she has now, just a really nice emotional moment of, I just very simply, I miss him, like I wish he was still here. And, it's really apparent that, Tywin influenced his children in a certain way, and you can see that it almost destroys all of them. And then Ned's influence, even though some might say it's the more naive aspect, is still being felt, and that his clan is still, his children are still kind of roaming together and surviving. I mean, Scott, did you feel that influence too?
Oh yeah, and I think that's what they were going for. And I do like the fact I have believed, Arya has her long ass list and whatever. Baelish is the reason why Ned is dead. Yeah. Period. Because with Baelish on Ned's side, or at least staying out of it, Ned could have at least gotten out of the city. Yeah. So as soon as Baelish takes the knife to the throat of Ned, Ned's dead. So again, that's why I figured Baelish would be around until the end, because it would all come full circle. But dude gets gutted. So yeah. But I also, there is a lot of talk about fathers and parentage in this one. Obviously, we have Hrothgar too. Which the actor is still an actor, I guess, for 5 seconds.
Hey,
he got the wig back on. It was great.
No, you're right. That was really, really cool. The only other part of the Winterfell sequence that we really need to talk about is what, Craig, you mentioned. Bran and Sam have a nice little fireside chat where we have officially learned that Jon's real name is Aegon Targaryen, named after the conqueror who first brought the Targaryens to rule over Westeros, I think like 300 years ago, with the conquests there. Really cool scene. And the after on HBO now, when we watch it, they do the after kind of show special with the writers and the creators of the show. And they said, like, we were really looking for something that was a way to confirm all this information that pretty much everybody knew while still trying to do it in a dramatic way. And I actually thought it was really, really cool to see kind of it go full circle there. Also mixed in with yet again another sense of how we're all really okay with incest on this show for some reason.
They don't know it.
Well, no, but we do, and everybody's still kind of like, yay, they're screwing. I mean, like, it's kind of weird to me. But Craig, let's go to you first. What did you think of this revelation of Jon's real name and the conversation with Sam and the Bran bot?
All right, so I need an idiot question here. Where has Sam been? Because when he was taking off the scabies from that guy, I thought that he was like down south somewhere.
He was. Again, he moved at the speed of plot, which Jeremy doesn't care about.
Yeah, no, he was down at the Citadel, which is where all the maesters train, and that's where he took the grayscale off of Jorah, and he was training to be the maester of Castle Black, but of course that doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, that's where he was, and he decided to leave to head on up to Winterfell to join the fight against the undead army.
And is that not like a long journey?
That's a very long journey, which again, as Scott already said, they don't seem to care about that this season, but whatever.
Okay,
and it's because the people who view the show don't care, so the writers get off.
It confused me considerably why he was there. But no, I think it's good. It was a good way to. There was a lot of talky in this episode, and I get why there had to be, but there was some scenes like. For me, I think that this was a great 55-minute episode that was turned into 80 minutes. I'm just gonna say that. There was too much. There was too much talking. There was too much. It got a little Lord of the Ringy when they were trying to walk into that meeting for like 9 hours. But those are just my being a very. So to explain to the listeners, I've explained this to all of you privately. I like the show. I like to not go very deep into it and learn many of the names because I think everyone's going to get killed. And I've never gone back and watched a single episode twice because I feel like I don't want to become emotionally invested into a single character until I know the winner. And then once I know the winner, I'll watch their story all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, and I can agree with that.
Scott, let's go.
Let's go with you here. What did you think of the Bran bot and Sam conversation here?
I'm shaking my head at Craig, so I'll get back to that in a moment. But again, they're moving at the speed of plot, and those guys are there for narration. Yeah. Everyone already knew. Unless you may have not known that what the name of the guy actually was her brother, so that makes Daenerys his aunt. And you probably maybe didn't put the connection together that because they were married, Jon actually outranks Daenerys now in terms of line of succession. So that was something that needed to be said, but it could have been said not in a room with two characters that no one cares about, even though I like Sam, but no one cares about them. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be Deus Ex Bran, and he's going to say, oh, by the way, episode 3 of season 8, we need to throw a little curveball in there. So guess what? Jon's not Jon. Whoa! Shocker.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder bad writing.
I wonder how George R.R. Martin feels about this, because we are past where he's actually written in the books.
I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah, well, he's getting paid dollar bills, y'all. But
I mean, if he truly cared about his stuff being spoiled, he wouldn't take 4 years to get out his current book, and he keeps putting it off and putting it off. So if he was truly worried about this, he would have put the books in the hyperdrive and got some stuff out there so he would beat him. At this point, he's going to write his own story. He may watch the reaction that people are going to give and change things. We also don't know if the writers have changed things. For all we know, this is not the way the books are going to go. So I don't think he cares. But I do want to go back to what Craig said real quick, and that is this episode is exactly what I wanted in the last 2 episodes of this show for this season. Whereas in the last episode was, we have to kill a dragon, and we have to do this and this and this. So everyone's going to do stupid shit to get us there. So we have to kill a dragon. That means John has to go kill zombies for no apparent reason instead of getting his dumb ass on top of the dragon and flying away. There was no reason for John to do that. They gave no reason to do that. It's just because they had to kill the dragon. So we're moving stuff around in that episode. This episode actually has characters making decisions that make sense. Everyone is making a decision here to decide if they're going to go one way or the other. We have
except
Craig,
for Cersei.
No, Cersei's making a decision to be stupid, which is what she's always been.
Yeah,
but
we're going to get into that.
Give the example of them walking up to the meeting area, which was drawn out. They could have cut a few minutes out of that. But the reason why you had that is because you had all of these characters intersecting for the first time in forever.
Yeah,
I loved watching Bronn and Tyrion get back together and start chatting and agreeing that they have some kind of man crush on each other, even when they're trying to kill each other. I like that.
Yeah,
that's something that we could have had last episode instead of having to make people do stupid decisions to get the plot moving.
Yeah, well, we're gonna transition there really, really quick. But just before we do, I really loved like the sense of, I like that he's named after Aegon the Conqueror. Nobody in the Twitter sphere or Facebook land, none of them are going to use that. He's still Jon Snow forever. But it's kind of cool with that. But it's clear, and I think you all agree with me, that this is going to cause a rift between Dany and Jon in the next in the final 6 episodes of the show, because like Jon, even though he's further away from Aerys's line, he still is the male, the kind of the last remaining male Targaryen. So that's, I'm guessing, why, even though Daenerys is kind of his elder in terms of being his aunt, he would still be the rightful heir to the throne. So it's going to be a very, very interesting plot device there to watch how this kind of drives a wedge between them now that they've clearly fallen in love with each other. But let's go over to King's Landing and the bulk of this episode. Scott, you already were talking about the walk and talk at the beginning with all the people meeting up again. You mentioned Bronn and Tyrion. I really like that one. For me, though, it was the Hound and Brienne talking about Arya. Just really, you got to see kind of a more tender side of the Hound. And I know you kind of did when he was teamed up with Arya, but he was still very guarded about it. But I loved that conversation, like, I thought you were dead. Well, not yet, and everything. You came fucking close. And it was just like such vintage the Hound. But then I love like when she said that Arya was okay. Did you see like the Hound give like a little smile? And, like it was clear that he actually did care about her and her well-being. Scott, was there any other conversations in this walk up to the Dragon Pit that stood out to you?
I think the one that really ticked me off the most was the cock tease that was the Hound and the Mountain.
Oh, because man. Well, once we get in there, yeah, that's my favorite.
It's not, because for me, it's like, just get it over with. We know you two are going to fight. He even says, this is not how you end, brother. Well, yeah, we know, because you're going to fight him. So freaking fight him.
Oh, come on, man. You didn't love that line, though? This isn't how you die. You know who's coming for you. You've always known. Yeah, like, that's a great line.
He's there to kill Jaime sooner or later, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
But no,
so what's that? What's that one dude's deal?
The Franken Mountain
guy.
The Franken Mountain? We don't know, dude. We have no clue how that happened. I mean,
here's another thing where, okay, Cersei's an idiot. Okay, I've never liked the character, and this isn't bad writing. This is Cersei's an idiot. She's all shocked that there are living dead things. Yeah. She has her bodyguard is one of them.
You have a living dead bodyguard. Yeah.
You're in charge of this? No wonder shit's falling apart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's get right into the meeting then, too. I mean, I love Daenerys riding in like a badass on Drogon. Just really, really cool visual there. And Euron there, like, we finally get to see him for the first time. Craig, what did you think of this epic War Council meetup?
I liked it for the most part. I think, again, everything went just a little long for me, being someone that is not as heavily invested with the sub-characters. But I thought it was I liked the demonstration. I liked how everything turned once they showed the undead, or at least you presumed that it turned. I liked that they had just enough chain to yank back right before.
Yeah, they measured that out really well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. For some reason, I guess seeing the White Walkers as just regular zombies, it did kind of come off very Walking Dead to me. In that moment, like when you see them in the north and they're all blue and stuff, like that's one thing, like they're all cold and you can kind of get like this ice demon feel for them, but they're just straight up zombies. And so like that was the only, I guess, let down of that meeting. But outside of that, I think that everybody, of course, that's where Jon shows his true nobility and true loyalty. And I enjoyed that I like that there's a good character to root for in this thing.
Craig, I might have to go comic book guy on you for a moment. There's actually two different kind of dead people in this show. You have the zombies, and then you have the White Walkers. They're two different things. The blue guys are the ones who are actually turned by the Night King, or somebody underneath the Night King actually turned them. The other guys, just everyone who dies up north comes back to life dead. So that's it. I mean,
okay.
There are actually two different types. So the zombie guys who are pretty easy to kill, and then you have the blue-eyed guys.
Yeah, the actual White Walkers who are the generals of this undead army.
Which is another thing, Jeremy, that I. Oh, go ahead, Craig.
Sound naive, but there's somebody listening to this podcast wanting to seem cool at work tomorrow that really appreciates my questions.
That's very true. No, Scott, I know where you're going with your comment. I hate that they did the Chitauri effect on that. I hate it. Yes. I literally do. I understand why, but I hate it. I hate that they did that.
Yeah. So we get to, you know how this is going to end now, and this is why that episode last week sucked so bad. You know how this is going to end. Somebody's going to decapitate the Night King, and all of them are going to go, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're all saved. Well, let's keep
bad writing.
Well, and here's the other thing, like that I totally geeked out over this meetup at the Dragon Pit, like probably way more than I should have as a watcher of the show, but it's just the fact that literally they're all there. And I got like so excited just as looks, like Cersei looking at Tyrion, and you're right, like the Hound looking at the Mountain, and Brienne looking at Jaime. Like, it's just so cool to like have all these people there in the same place at the same time. I think that Cersei clearly kind of cements herself as the villain of this show, like even more so than other villains of this show, because now we're starting to see that, everybody's been worried this season about whether or not Daenerys is turning into the Mad King. I mean, Cersei is kind of going down this path of like, it was the sequence with Jaime like later in the episode, but I thought that her interactions with everyone were really great. But the fact that Jon Snow doesn't bend the knee to her, that he doesn't lie and say like, oh yeah, I'll stay out of it, I'll not pledge to Daenerys, I thought that was really cool, and I loved his rationale for that. So Scott, what did you think of Jon making that fateful decision?
Well, this is we talked about Ned really over this whole episode and what Sansa and Arya are doing and what Jon's doing. Whoa, yeah. Hi, Craig's eyes. How are you?
There he is.
Okay.
Sorry.
People listening to the audio are going to have no idea what just happened. Okay.
Nope.
But this is a vindication of Ned's entire philosophy.
Yeah.
And Jon says it. If everyone lies, then it's just going to become the biggest lie wins, and there's no point to that.
No parallels to our real world at all, is there?
I love how everyone begrudgingly agrees with him. Everyone's like, we wish you wouldn't have done it, but
thanks. Well, I mean, it was Tyrion's line that I loved the most. It's just like, has it ever occurred to you once to just try to lie? Like, just try to lie just a little bit.
But in the grand scheme of things, we now know, and we all knew it as soon as she said it, Cersei is lying. And now Jaime has cut ties with her. So her lie is going to be her downfall.
Yeah. I mean, like, you mentioned that there. One of my favorite lines of this episode is Jaime, like, kind of doing the arguing with Cersei there at the end about, Cersei has betrayed them and she's not going to send her troops forth, and actually Euron's going to get more. I love Jaime had a line where he's just like, you realize this isn't going to work anyway. If they win, they're going to be pissed we double-crossed them and come and kill us. If the dead beat them, they're going to come and kill us. There's like literally no upside here.
This is my one concern, and I will flat out say Littlefinger's death proves me wrong, but I'll still say this. We've gotten so deep into this show that everyone has plot armor. If this was season 2 or season 3, either Jaime or Cersei or the Mountain, one of those three are not walking out of that room alive.
Oh, Jaime is definitely not walking out. If George R.R. Martin is writing this, no, Jaime's dead.
But now that we're so far into the game, everyone has plot armor on. No one can die. Again, Littlefinger proves me wrong. But for the most part, Jon goes off and fights people for no apparent reason and gets in the drink for an hour and a half and comes back unscathed because he has plot armor. He cannot die now. Yeah. So the whole thing that made Game of Thrones the thing that it is today is no one was safe, and I wish they would get back to that. And the scene with Littlefinger was perfect for that, but they need to stop pulling their punches. If you're going to have Cersei order the Mountain to kill Jaime, he needs to kill Jaime.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask both of you about that because Jaime obviously has an amazing moment there where you can see the fear on Jaime's face of, oh my God, she just told him to kill me. But I love, he kind of resolved himself. He's like, no, I don't believe you. You're not going to do this. Do you think that falls under Cersei's weakness that, that Jaime still is Cersei's ultimate weakness? Craig, what do you think of that? Do you think that kind of signifies that she didn't ultimately give the Mountain the order to kill him and let him walk away?
Craig's muted.
Craig's on mute, but whatever.
He's also sharing our post finally. An hour.
My bad. I'm sorry. So what I said while I was on mute, after I didn't go to the bathroom during the podcast, was that I think that her weakness is going to be her love of her family, which is weird, right? But go with me here. She didn't kill either of her brothers this episode, and she probably should have killed them both. If we were going, and I get Scott's argument about the plot and they don't want to kill off somebody, but I feel like this show has never really ever cared about that. And so, like you said, Littlefinger kind of disproves what you're saying there. But I do think that she probably should have killed both of her brothers this episode, and she refused to. So I think ultimately that's going to be her downfall.
Very good point. Scott, what do you think of that? The fact that Cersei had a clear opportunity to kill the two people she thinks betrayed her, but she doesn't.
Not only does it make Cersei weaker than what she was, but also it neuters, and I say neuter when we have a ball kicking scene later on.
Which we're about to talk about, yeah.
But they neuter the Mountain. The Mountain now is worthless because his one thing was whenever she gives the nod, he kills.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Why wouldn't she just do it?
So did she pull him aside and say, I'm going to nod to you to scare him, but I don't want you to do anything? No, this is just the Mountain is being stupid. So
yeah, did she give him another signal and we just cut that scene or something?
No,
I was confused by that too.
That's why that scene disappointed me. Somebody had to die, and I hope it would have been the Mountain, even though I want to see the Hound take him out because I like Jaime as a character, and I think my prediction still stands. Jaime's going to be the one giving Cersei a knife to the back. No, I mean that scene basically neutered those characters for me. They have no power now.
Yeah, well, obviously now Jaime has left King's Landing. I think we're all assuming he's going up to fight with Daenerys now. Or maybe just going up to fight the undead. Maybe he still feels a little bit of loyalty to House Lannister. I don't know, but I do love that kind of Brienne she was always the influence in the show that was making him a better person. And now we kind of see the culmination of that. You know, like there are certain things now Jaime has kind of broken Cersei's hold on him, and has finally left. And I love that, you know, Brienne took him aside after Cersei was leaving. He said, you know, like, this isn't about houses. This isn't about loyalty anymore, which is a really big thing for her to say. She's all about loyalty and oaths. And even she's saying, we can't be bickering like this. We got to fight together. Like, you've got to convince her. I thought that was really, really cool. Let's talk, though, a little bit about that Tyrion-Cersei conversation, because this one, man, you want to talk about two world-class actors just sparring off in some really, really well-written dialogue in that scene. Scott, let's start with you. What did you think of this scene between Tyrion and Cersei, their first one for at least a couple of seasons?
Yeah, I like the fact that all these folks are getting together, and that's why the fact that this was a talky episode I enjoyed, because these characters are getting a chance to actually work out. And it again proved to me that Cersei has gone completely off the deep end. Somebody is going to have to put her down, and it's going to happen probably at the end. I was wrong. I figured Cersei would have to go first before they went north, but now it's pretty much that's going to be the end. Is somebody's going to have to put her down, because she's crazy. I mean, she's sitting there holding her stomach saying, I will protect my family. You didn't, sweetheart. They're all dead. You did a shit job.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, it was kind of interesting to me. Well, I mean, first off, I love anytime Peter Dinklage gets to finally flex his muscles and not just, you know, try and talk Dany down from doing something weird. I mean, like, this scene is so great because, I mean, God, Cersei pisses me off so much, because it's like she still resents Tyrion just for being born. Just for killing their mom in childbirth. She literally holds that against him, like it was his doing, like he wanted to do that. She even says that, you know, like, it's what you've been doing since you were born. You've been trying to destroy this family. And I was just sitting there the whole time just going, like, screw you, Cersei. Like, this is just so flawed logic and thinking, like, my kids are dead because of you. And even Tyrion relents at that point. I'm like, no, your kids are dead because of you. All right, you started all of this shit, and it's just like, it really kind of ticked me off. Craig, what do you think of this scene between Cersei and Tyrion?
I did like it. I think the dialogue was well written. I like the tension that was built. I like the wine drinking. Was he testing the wine for her? Is that what he was doing before he?
I think he was just relieved. Yeah, I think he was just relieved, and he's like, "I'm gonna have another glass, please."
Like, hey, you didn't poison me. Thanks.
Yeah.
That was kind of vintage him. I like that.
Craig, you just went Mr. Roboto on us. You just went Mr. Roboto.
Yeah. You still there, man?
Okay.
No.
Craig will be back once he figures out his
back.
audio. That's the power of iPhone, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. No, I just think that, and it's really kind of, I don't know why I expected different, but somehow I like sort of believed Cersei when she came back to the pit and said, okay, let's fight together.
Why?
I really don't know. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yo, come on, dude. Take off the rose-colored glasses.
Maybe it's because I wanted to believe, yes, we're all going to finally like not be idiots and just fight together. But of course, Cersei's still playing the game.
And Jeremy, if you clap your hands, the fairy comes back to life.
Hey, Tinkerbell is alive because of me,
hands,
okay?
Clap your hands.
Yes. No, it is very interesting. I feel bad for Varys. He doesn't get to do anything in this episode except just be in the background. But you guys have mentioned
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Craig, you there?
Took you like a minute to acknowledge my presence. Thank you, guys.
In the middle of important Tinkerbell related thoughts. But let's see. Both of you mentioned this in our private chat. Let's talk about Theon finally growing a pair. Oh, I had to say it. Oh, that was painful. Let's talk about the two scenes here. Let's start though with the Theon Jon scene in the throne room there. I really, really liked this scene. Kit Harington and Alfie Allen, they really do a great job here playing off of each other. Jon forgiving Theon for all of the wrongs that he can forgive him of, and really kind of giving Theon his confidence back, saying, you don't have to choose. You are Greyjoy and you are Stark, so go and do that. Like I loved at the end, what are you waiting for then? If your sister's a prisoner, go and get her. Mr. Roboto, what do you think of this scene between Jon and Theon?
Decisions had to be made for me to make this podcast on time, and those decisions were talkie-talkie, did not need to occur in whatever room that was in. The very end of it was pretty okay. The 8 minutes preceding the end of it was a lot of fast forwarding done by me.
Oh, all right. Scott, what about you? What do you think of it?
Talkie. Theon is going to die for his sins sooner or later, but I like that he has become more of a tragic character as we've gone along. And I think that, again, we continue to go back to the theme that this is Ned's family starting to finally step up and take control of what's theirs, and that is the world, basically. And so we have a Lion King moment where Simba is told that Mufasa lives in him. And so he goes out and fights a dude. I think I liked how they're straddling things. They're doing both. I mean, he is still a Stark, and he's still a member of the family as an adopted son, but also he's a Greyjoy because he has to fight for power, and then he goes to the salt of the ocean to wash himself off and all that. So it's very much a Greyjoy thing to do. The whole okay.
I mean, it's great. It's great.
The kicking of the balls. Let's discuss the kicking of the. For one, I didn't realize his balls were gone. I knew his penis was gone.
Yeah, okay. I learned this as well in this episode.
I did not know that he lost everything. That being said, how does that empower you to beat a guy up? I get that you're not going to have as much pain as a normal person would, but you're still getting your ass kicked, and this gives you superpowers.
Well, I think it was more of an emotional kick, if you will. It's just the fact that this is meant to. He's constantly being put down by the Iron Island, by the Ironborn, about not having a dick anymore, and finally, somebody tries to deliver this death blow in this fight by hitting him there, and he turns that weakness, that perceived weakness, into a strength of, no, you can't hurt me there anymore. I'm going to kick the shit out of you. So I think it was kind of more of an emotional thing. You're trying to, this thing's not going to define me anymore. I'm Theon Greyjoy. I can still do this. So that's where I took from it. It was utterly hilarious, like Craig said, of just this little smirk on his face, nope. But you wouldn't feel any zero pain from that. That would still hurt a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. I'm spending way too much time trying to figure out what a kick to the non-existence balls would do to you.
Yeah.
But the show spent a lot of time on it too, because it wasn't just the Theon scene. It was we're facing down an army of dickless guys, and maybe we will be the dickless people at the end. I'm like, the writers were really in the dicks in this episode.
I'm just saying, but that conversation with Braun and Jamie was just the best. Just I wouldn't know what to use. They used the word cock so many times in this episode. But like you, Scott, though, I really like that after the fight, he goes to the salt water and washes his face off. It's just, you're right. It's kind of the courage of the Starks and the salt of the Greyjoys. I really kind of like that. Craig, what did you think of Theon taking his rightful place back?
I liked that it was the underdog coming back, but I thought that the kick was a little on the nose. I mean, it was kind of a little bump bump bump. It just was very I don't know. I mean, it
was just missing that slide whistle.
Yeah, it got a little laugh out of me for sure. But is that what Game of Thrones is supposed to do? Sorry to be such a downer on a fun, happy, joyous moment where somebody got beat to death. But
that's very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
No, you're right. But I think that it's going to be interesting seeing Theon go after Euron and try and rescue Yara. Obviously Euron is off on his own mission now to bring 20,000 soldiers back. I don't know. It's very interesting that they're still doing that storyline, but I think you're right, Scott, though. I think he's going to die for his sins while saving his sister. I think that's going to be his final heroic act, and that they'll honor him in some other way. Anything else stick out to everyone from King's Landing that we're missing here before we head on to the finale of this episode?
No.
All right, good. This is riveting television, people. All right, so let's head on up to Eastwatch and the end of this episode. We saw last week Viserion was resurrected by the Night King to be his weapon of mass destruction. And now we see that Viserion is letting the Night King ride him, which I got to say was an insanely cool visual. And he breathes blue fire now, which is, again, just really, really cool. But of course, the wall has come down. A lot of people were predicting this as the ending. And I just got to say, that final shot of all the multitude of the Army of the Dead just marching into Westeros. There's so many crazy things that can happen with this. Scott, I know you said to me you didn't think that this was kind of the best way to end it. What did you think of this, the ending of this episode?
Well, I wouldn't say it's predictable. I think I said in the first episode we did of this thing, the last scene of season 7 will be the wall coming down. We're not going to have the fight with the Army of the Dead until season 8.
Yeah. And
the wall will come down at the end. So I wish that they would have done something different at the end because I already knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that I'm annoyed in the fact that one of my favorite characters is probably dead now.
You think Tormund's gone?
I kind of go back to comic books and say no body, no death.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping he was on the other side of the wall that didn't fall down.
Well, I mean, like the only person we've ever seen die off screen in the show, I think, is Stannis Baratheon, but that was pretty clearly a death. So I don't think he's gone. I think they would have shown that.
I think they showed him on the wall, and the wall came down. What do you want?
I don't know. I want that body. All right, I want the body.
So does Brienne of Tarth. She wants that body too.
That's that Conor McGregor looking guy, right?
Yes. Not a good week for the Irish, man. Yeah, Craig, what did you think of the wall coming down here at the end?
I'm probably going to be pretty robotic now, am I?
Oh, no. Mr. Roboto is back. He's going to come back, and we'll get him there.
He's Kilroy.
Did you expect the Night King to be riding Viserion? Like, I don't know why, but that never even crossed my mind. Was that what you were predicting?
Well, I don't know if it's still a theory or if it's actually been proven, but Night King's a Targaryen, right?
Well, it hasn't been proven yet, but I think I hear where you're going there.
Yeah, Night King's a Targaryen, so it makes perfect sense, and that's why at the end of the day, Jon's going to ride one too.
Oh yeah.
And I still think Tyrion's going to ride one. I think this dragon's going to come back over to the good side, question mark. I still think the 3-dragon thing and the 3-headed dragon prediction, all that good stuff, it's going to be the 3 of them.
Should be there. Craig, are you back with us?
I am.
All right, what do you think of the wall come tumbling down?
It was cool.
And the wall come tumbling.
It was neat. No,
it was neato. I like it.
I do agree that it was a little predictable with what Scott was saying, but no, I think it was the ending that this season needed.
Yeah.
Maybe not that we deserved.
Wait, Christopher Nolan with it, man.
So does that mean season 8's going to be a complete letdown and be a waste of
breaking and everything? Well, and I
at the end, Jon Snow's going to be at a dinner table in Paris with Catwoman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, and this is the benefit of watching on HBO now. After the show, they do the behind the scenes stuff, and Benioff and Weiss were talking about how at the end of season 6, you had this triumphant shot of Dany and her army on their ships heading towards Westeros, and then you compact that triumphant scene with a scene of pretty big dread here of the entire army of the undead marching into Westeros. There's a prediction that's been coming from this that once the Night King gets past the wall, that we might be seeing some resurrections of some of our favorite departed characters as he marches through Westeros, because of course he has that power. Let's go with Scott. Do you think that that's a logical prediction here as the Night King marches into Westeros?
I think that prediction is based solely off, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling the books here, but Lady Stoneheart. And
I think it is,
people want Stoneheart. She ain't coming, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't think so. But I mean, like, it's a logical question, though. I mean, he has the power to raise the dead to like and amass into his forces there. So I mean, it makes kind of logical sense that people who have died and have been buried in Westeros could then come back, and we could get some really freaky reunions in that way.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the half-life of a corpse? Because usually when he turns things, they're like just barely dead.
Well, I mean, we did see in the Battle of the Lake, there was like pretty much bare skeletons that were walking there almost. So I don't know.
Yeah, true. But I mean, at that point, what kind of reunion is it going to be? It's like, hey, there's the femur of my dead mom. Woo!
Ned Stark's bones are alive. Yay.
Can we call him 006, please?
Yes, we can. Craig, what do you think of that theory?
Who's what? What were you guys even talking about?
Well, we won't spoil for the books, but let's just say that there's a character that has died that comes back in the books as a vengeful kind of near like zombie-like Avenger.
She came back in book 3. We're in like book 8 now.
Yeah, it's not happening. They've said it's not happening. But
and the guy who brought her back probably just died on the wall with the other guy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, like, really, what this kind of reinforces to me is like ever since the Door episode of season 6, I've always thought Hodor is going to be coming back as a zombie of some kind. You know, like that. Like I think that Hodor is in the Army of the Dead right now, and that they'll have to fight him and meet up with him again to kill him. So like that's kind of where I'm going with that. Like are there people who could come back? But you're right. Like what is Lysa Arryn still somewhere in the Eyrie? Like her corpse still somewhere just hanging out. Like yeah. So who knows how that's going to go? But okay. So that's it. So let's get into a few predictions. Like Scott, do you have any big predictions you want to make for the last 6 episodes for season 8?
I predict there'll be 8 episodes. That's my first prediction. Because there'll be 8 episodes.
Okay.
Because there are.
I believe you. I misspoke.
No, I think there's a couple things that are going to happen, and again, the plot armor tells me it's going to happen. Mountain and Hound are going to go at each other. That's going to happen. Jon's going to ride a dragon. That's going to happen. Sooner or later, Jon and Daenerys are going to have to deal with the fact that she's his aunt, and he outranks her. Yeah. And I think that's going to get dealt with sooner rather than later, because I don't think that's going to be holding over people's heads. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to die, and I hope that happens because I'm tired of people surviving this shit.
Well, I think we're going to get a lot of death. Craig, do you think we're getting a lot of death of our main characters in season 8?
Absolutely. They've already said that the spinoffs are going to be prequels, right? So
yeah,
no need to keep any of them alive, and I don't think that this author cares to keep any of his characters alive. So I think that just about all of them, everyone on this planet will die except for whoever has ended up on the Iron Throne. There's my prediction.
It's a good prediction.
Everyone dies.
Well, I think in a perfect world where the good guys win, there won't be an Iron Throne. You're going to have republics, and you're going to have the North, and you're going to have a council of, and again, it's going to be Dany, Tyrion, and Jon being a council at the end. Because that's the only way. I mean, Daenerys said this in the first season, or maybe it was the second season. The only way you stop the wheel from spinning is breaking the wheel.
Yeah, and hopefully she does.
Now, if it's a cynical ending, which quite possibly could be the case, then the wheel just keeps going.
And the Night King is on it. Everyone does. All right, that's going to do it for this review of the finale of Season 7 of Game of Thrones here on The Road Knows Nothing. Hey, guys, thank you so much for taking this journey with us of Game of Thrones. We started the show really quickly, and I think it's been a real big success. People have really responded to it, so we're going to keep doing it again in 2025 when we finally get Season 8 of Game of Thrones.
At that point, Zonasodes will be done.
Yeah, so we'll have more time. Zonasodes will be done.
February of 2020. Mark it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be it. But hey, go on to the frontrowmoviereviews.com. Find us on Facebook, searching for the Front Row Movie Reviews, on Twitter at Front Row Reviews with a Z. Tell us what you thought of the finale of Game of Thrones. Obviously, this thing's going to be talked about for a couple of days now until our president does something else crazy. And then it'll still be talked about. But this is going to be a really, really great thing that we're going to keep going. We have one more episode of The Road Knows Nothing that we will be doing next week, which will be our complete comprehensive Season 7 recap. just of what we thought
you
of this
don't want me on
as
that.
a whole.
This is news to me, so.
Well, there you go. That was on the calendar.
Oh, on the calendar I didn't look at. Okay.
There you go. But that's going to be it, and then we're going to be seeing you again sometime in the future. We won't know when. But in the meantime, we have all of our podcasts still. You can watch Scott's Flashbacks and Zonasodes. You can watch Craig's Beyond the Mouse. We have Classics with Brandon Davis. We have Dishes. Are You Afraid of the Podcast? Everything on the Front Row Network there, you can go and try and find. So we're going to get out of here. We've all got kids to take care of and sleep to get. But again, tell us what you thought for the Front Row Movie Reviews. I'm Jeremy.
Real
Craig
quick.
has an announcement.
Just real quick. I know we have listeners in Texas. Just stay safe down there, okay?
Yeah, good call.
That's all. Not to bring it down, but I guess I'll end on a high note. Vote Mark for America's favorite person, and Kevin walks out of the Big Brother house the winner.
All of these things that I just noted. No, that's very good, Craig. My mom's actually down in Texas. She is totally fine. But yeah, everybody down there, be safe. Don't be stupid and protect your lives. So, all right. So that's going to do it for us. Protect your lives better than Cersei's protecting her people. There we go. We brought it all the way back. For the Front Row Movie Reviews and The Row Knows Nothing, I'm Jeremy Geckner.
Jeremy doesn't look at the screen because I've been trying to signal him for about 15 minutes now.
Oh, no, you're correct. Sorry. We're going to do take 3 on the ending. Scott, please do the announcement. You are correct.
No, I'm good. Go for it.
No, come on. You got to do it now. I've stopped the whole thing.
Well, I was just saying that I've been holding up my Vulcan sign for a moment, and then I'm going to do this, Jeremy. Yeah. But no, if you're enjoying the TV recap world that we've kind of dove in with Zonasodes, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and now Game of Thrones, we're going to be doing another one. We're going to be discovering Star Trek. It will start off a week before Star Trek Discovery hopefully doesn't suck. So that will be the 17th of September. We'll have our first show of that in preparation for the 24th, which is when the first episode airs on CBS before it goes onto the internet, because CBS is evil.
All right. Now, I think that's all the announcements. Watch out for our next podcast on the Front Row feed, which will be a flashback of It, the miniseries, I believe. So, actually, no, we'll be doing Classics with the Searchers, and then we'll be doing It, the miniseries.
Yeah. So, please, can you drop the Searchers?
Yes, it's dropping on Wednesday. So there you go.
Folks, when you hear us talk about the Oscars, we're not confused.
There will be an announcement. All right, we got to get out of here, guys. Find us online for the Front Row Movie Reviews and The Row Knows Nothing. Take 3. I'm Jeremy Geckner.
I'm Scott McFarland.
I'm Craig McFarland.
And we will see you in the front row and on the Iron Throne. Get out of here, kids.